Really
Hey everyone, how's it going? Azren the language nerd here. Hope you're doing very, very well. Man, I'm in such a fantastic mood, and quite honestly, I just cannot wait for tomorrow. Because today and tomorrow, I'm running a 2-day intensive French lesson with a group of about 3 different students. And quite honestly, frankly, I love these multi-day events when you're learning a language, whether it's 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 10 days, whatever, right? I love multi-day events because you just have so much time to accomplish such a huge number of things, such a variety of things that quite honestly you couldn't do if you were just doing like a 1-hour lesson or 2-hour lesson or whatever it is. For example, let's start looking at today, right? So what we did is we played a game called Jenga where we incorporated some different conversational elements, which was really fantastic. J'ai dormi à 1 heure.
Oh!
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a? De quoi?
Pourquoi?
Bah c'est normal pour moi. Je dors à 1 heure ou 2 heures.
Really cool.
From there, we actually went a little bit more hands-on into a slightly more challenging activity where I had my 3 students build a spaghetti tower. In other words, I gave them some spaghetti, dry spaghetti. They had to build a tower that supported like a marshmallow at the top. And this was quite fascinating because we're taking an activity that is completely unrelated to language learning, and I'm forcing them to apply their language skills and work together and communicate and collaborate to actually complete a finished product and to actually produce a finished product that has nothing to do with languages. And that, my friends, is a heck of a lot harder, and actually in a lot of ways will help you to, I guess, remember things, remember vocabulary and phrases at a heck of a much deeper level than if you hadn't done that kind of activity. From there, we actually continued to go even more into the field and actually in a bit of a literal way, because we went to a shopping mall. And I made a strategic decision of taking an Uber, like a taxi or an Uber to the shopping mall, because that way I don't have to worry about driving. We're just there. I can continue to teach in a different way as we're driving. And it's different, right? Because when you're in a car versus in my basement, which is our classroom, you know, we don't have pen and paper. We don't have the flip chart. We don't have markers. We can't write stuff. This is just pure conversation now. This is us talking. This is us, you know, talking about songs, and we're talking about cheese and talking about such a wide variety of topics.
Un régime de fromage blanc, étant en guerre avec le camembert, le port-salut n'a pas voulu, car le roquefort était trop fort, encore plus fort. Un régiment de fromage blanc. So a regiment of white cheese, disons un army quoi, est en guerre avec le camembert.
They're at war with the camembert cheese.
Ouais, est en guerre. Ouais, le port-salut, c'est un fromage. Comme le cheddar cheese, tout ça, c'est un fromage. N'a pas voulu, car le roquefort était trop fort. Et puis, encore plus fort. Again, and louder.
And this is engaging a very different part of your brain than when you're sitting at a table with that paper, with that pen. It's engaging very different parts of your brain, right? Once we arrived at the mall, we did a bit of a scavenger hunt, which basically had my students going around and trying to identify a bunch of objects in French, which was one part of it, which is good for vocabulary. But the most important part was I had them find some native or non-native French speakers, and I had them integrate the questions we used in Jenga in the early part of the day with these speakers. So they had to take these questions that we did in the morning, right, then in a theoretical setting, and they had to apply it with other speakers that were not myself and was not the classmates themselves.
Mon passe-temps, c'est nager, lire des livres, comme moi, et jouer aux jeux de société.
Oui. Est-ce que ça vous aide si on utilise cette petite vidéo sur la chaîne YouTube?
Non? On va me donner un lien?
Oui, bien sûr.
Tu es né en Canada ou
non?
Oui.
Je suis née en Pologne.
En Pologne?
Wow. Bah merci beaucoup. Hein.
Bah de rien. C'est quoi ton website, tu as dit?
C'est en fait c'est azrenthelanguagenerd.com. Et je vais mettre quelques vidéos de mon événement sur YouTube. Est-ce que ça vous gêne si j'inclus ça sur un peu?
Non, ça va, je vais parler.
Ok, merci.
And that, my friends, is probably one of the biggest highlights of the day because it took something that we did in theory and made them apply it in a very, very real world setting where there actually are some more stakes. And it is a little bit more nerve-wracking and nervous. But that's, you know, I think that's in a lot of ways sometimes with languages, you have to go out and you have to apply it in a, like I said before, real world setting. And so I was happy to be able to create that environment for my students that allowed them to do it in I guess we could say a medium pressure scenario, much less pressure than like going to Quebec or going to France or going somewhere and like having to buy something in the grocery store, but definitely creating a bit of a simulation of that. And you know, at the end of the day, this is a big thing. I've talked about this before, but I really enjoyed going back to my house afterwards, right? And actually doing a bit of a recap, hearing what my students had to hear, you know, hearing what my students had to say about the day, you know, hearing their feedback, doing a big recap, seeing what really stood out for them, what were they learning, what was really standing out. What are like major vocab things that are standing out? They want to make sure you remember.
Marshmallow.
Marshmallow, okay.
Guimauve.
Love it. Guimauve, yep.
Oh la vache.
Oh la
I
vache.
like that.
Oh la vache.
Like, I liked how we started just in our group doing the conversation practice. Because the weakness I have is grammar.
Okay.
Like the words are in my head, I'm just not sure if I'm saying the right order kind of thing. So
Right.
Practicing questions is pretty good.
You mean like the Jenga game we played?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like learning like tactile learner, like
Okay.
kinesthetic stuff.
Okay.
So like the Jenga was really good.
So is that why you liked a lot of the interview stuff?
I did, yeah.
That's because it's more, it's not really tactile, you're not
I'm
touching
doing
people,
it.
but you're, yeah.
Yeah. It's not reading a book. This is how you go.
Practical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also liked it when if it's balanced as well. Like I like
Okay.
tactical learning.
Yeah.
It should be. It was
Everyone's
balanced.
different. Yeah,
I thought it was balanced.
Okay.
But at the same time, I liked the Jenga because it was something that I was familiar with, and I was able to work on my French while I was doing something I was familiar with. I found the marshmallow a little bit more challenging.
Highly recommend you guys do these kinds of, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, however many day, these condensed multi-day French excursions, whether it means that you just do it on your own, grab some friends and grab a coffee and try and do it in a whole day by yourselves, whether it means you find a local tutor, whether it means, heck, you know, some people have flown me down before, you want to fly me down, you know, it's something to actually look at. I think it actually, for some of you, can actually be pretty, I think it could be affordable if you do it in a group setting, like you get 5 friends and you like pitch in, like that's obviously an option. Like there's 101 ways you can do it. You'd be like shocked at how much better you get and how much of an impact that has on your language ability. So let's wrap it up there. Thank you again for watching, and we will chat later. Bye for now.